Let's welcome defense attorney, former head prosecutor Bob Bianchi. And Bob, I feel like I've been cheating because I've been watching you on one of my monitors throughout this testimony and your reactions to it and reacting like you are now and shaking your head. Tell us, please, why? What stood out to you?
I'm sorry, Judge. I got the giggles now. Okay, so and your producer made a comment too. No, it's just the interpretation, the lack of skill with the lawyers. Look, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. The woman speaks English to a certain degree. She's answering the question. She's anticipating the answers in English. The guy's he's talking the interpreter to her and him to her, and it's not being translated to the court. And they're asking wildly complex questions when you're having an interpreter interpret, and the nature of the questions and the subjectiveness of it. Look, when you got a witness like this on the stand, if you're the prosecutor and you're trying to get information out from her, you got to be clean, you got to be crisp, you got to make sure that she understands the cadence. Wait till the question is answered. The interpreter will then interpret it. You will then speak to the interpreter. The interpreter will then speak to the court. You can't have a combination of activities going on. And really, the court should have stepped in at a certain point in time and said, look, a little leading is okay. It's wildly speculative questions. So I just felt from the standpoint of having been a person who, by the way, has had many interpreters, it's lugging. It's like, reminds me of you riding a motorcycle. Like, it's going to lug the testimony. So you've got to be really clean and crisp and get that cadence going. So that's what you were watching me doing, because I don't know how you felt. I wasn't even listening to the answers. I was watching the antics of the interpretation.
And I think jurors are potentially doing exactly what you were doing, exactly what I was thinking, which is you've got to be so clean and crisp in terms of those logistics. It's not a slight on any person involved in those logistics, but just the way the attorney asked those questions. And so the jury may also be laughing, Bob.
Yeah, Judge, it's a typical thing when I train lawyers, and me and you have actually been together training lawyers on panels. It's not about just spitting out questions and getting robotic answers back. You've got to understand there's 12 people that are going to be making a decision on the fate of another human being, and they have to understand what it is. And a lot of times lawyers have this cadence where they just want to spit it all out and at least feel like I've accomplished something. You've got to be bigger than that. And even on cross-examination, it doesn't make a difference what lawyer it is. You have to make sure the jury is understanding the level of interpretation. And what was happening there too, and I've seen this happen, I had this literally happen one time, where you're giving a long question and then the person says like one word. I don't know Japanese or Chinese or any other language other than Italian. So when they say one word though, and the person's now giving a long answer back in court, that's not right. You have to know when to say, Judge, can we clear the jury out? Can you make sure their interpreter, because the interpreter was making mistakes too. The interpreter was breaking the rule by having colloquy with the witness that was outside the record, if you get my point. It was just really poorly done.
Yeah, because it has to be clear on the record for appellate purposes, because the whole point of the cross was to impeach her, to have her say she told police there was one chair turned over. Now she says there was two. She said the dogs woke her up at 2 a.m. when she talked to law enforcement 2 years ago. Now she's saying it was 3 a.m. That was the point, but I think it got lost. All right, Bob, unfortunately, we do have to squeeze in a break.